as the world's eyes were fixed on the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza and the Israel-Hezbollah conflict in Lebanon? A stunning 11-day blitz by Islamist militants in a neighboring nation ended the 24-year-long reign of a controversial leader. The impact of the fall of Bashar al-Assad is certain to be felt beyond the borders of war-torn Syria, with reverberations across the entire Middle East and the world at large. One country that is likely to be majorly hit is Assad's benefactor, the Islamic Republic of Iran, with many arguing that this could be the end of Khamenei's ambition to dominate the Middle East. On December 7, 2024, when the Syrian jihadist group took over Damascus, the symbols of Iran's dominance littered the floor. Portraits of Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei and Ayatollah Khamenei were discarded. Images glorifying former Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah were torn from walls, and flames consumed Qasem Soleimani's posters. So, what happens next in Iran? Will the flames of Syria also engulf neighboring Tehran? Is the Syria crisis the beginning of the end of the Khamenei regime? We dive deeper into all these questions in the latest episode of HT in Depth.
The more you apply pressure to the resistance front, the stronger it becomes. The more crimes you commit, the more determined it becomes. The more you fight against it, the more it expands. And I tell you, with the help and power of God, the scope of the resistance will encompass the entire region more than ever before. There should be no doubt that what has happened in Syria is the result of a joint American and Zionist plan.
This was Ayatollah Ali Khamenei speaking after his ally Bashar al-Assad was overthrown in Syria, striking a defiant tone, announcing to adversaries that the Syria crisis won't affect Tehran or its proxies. However, it is difficult to ignore the possible impacts that the fall of a trusted ally in a neighboring nation could have on Iran. Syria was Iran's only close ally in the Middle East, and the fall of the Assad regime could be detrimental to its Middle East ambitions. Iran will miss the influence it exerted on the Bashar al-Assad regime in Syria. The resistance against Israel is set to weaken without Assad in power, and Iran will face challenges in sending weapons to its Lebanon-based militant ally Hezbollah. Syria has been a frontline against Iran's archenemy Israel and the linchpin of Tehran's ability to project power in the region. Syria, in several ways, helped Tehran engage in conflicts far from its own borders. However, with Bashar al-Assad out, experts argue that Iran may be on the defensive in the Middle East.
The collapse of the Assad regime, the tyranny in Damascus, offers great opportunity, but also is fraught with significant dangers. This collapse is a direct result of our forceful action against Hezbollah and Iran, Assad's main supporters. It set off a chain reaction of all those who want to free themselves from this tyranny and its oppression.
With Assad's ouster, Israel now claims to be in the driver's seat within the rapidly changing reality of the Middle East. The Israeli military has already seized the buffer zone in the Golan Heights, established by a 1974 ceasefire agreement with Syria. The IDF claims to have destroyed 60 to 80% of Syria's advanced weapons stockpiles. The Israeli PM is not keeping his goals a secret either, declaring that the Golan Heights will always be an inseparable part of the State of Israel. Netanyahu also issued a message to common Iranians, who much like Syria's revolutionaries, are believed to be waiting for their moment.
People of Iran, as we see history unfold before our very eyes, I can only imagine what you're feeling right now. Your oppressors spent over $30 billion supporting Assad in Syria. Today, after only 11 days of fighting, his regime collapsed into the dust. Your oppressors spent billions supporting Hamas in Gaza. Today, their regime lies in ruins. I know that just as we want peace with you, you want peace with us. But you suffer under the rule of a regime that subjugates you and threatens us. You know what this regime is truly terrified of? It's terrified of you, the people of Iran. And one day, I know that, one day this will change. One day Iran will be free. Women, life, freedom.
Experts say Israel has the means to incapacitate the Khamenei regime's military and economic hubs, ignite chaos by targeting refineries and disrupt essential utilities like water and power. Such actions could spark mass unrest, leading Iranians to overthrow their leaders. We can also expect Israel to continue its relentless covert operations to cripple Iran's influence in Syria and beyond. However, Israel's strategy isn't just about military dominance, it is also trying to redefine its regional position by solidifying its alliances with Gulf states, such as Saudi Arabia and the UAE, which could end up further isolating Iran. Iran has been isolated from the Islamic world since 1979, when Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the anglicized Shah of Iran, was forced into exile. Once a thriving regional power, after the revolution, Tehran's relationship with the Arab world soured, resulting in a war against Iraq and proxy conflicts with Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, and Qatar among others. At present, Iran is among the world's most diplomatically isolated nations, and Assad's ouster leaves Iran with only two powerful allies, Russia and China. However, both nations have their limits in helping Iran out of the quagmire it finds itself in. Russia, which is fighting a raging war with Ukraine, may not have the will or the resources to help Iran, while China is unlikely to worsen its ties with Europe and the West by being seen as too close to the Iranian regime. The timing of Bashar al-Assad's exit from power in Syria couldn't have been worse for Iran. This comes barely a month before the return of Donald Trump to the White House. And the US president-elect has refused to rule out even a war with the Islamic Republic. Remember, Trump has a history of acting tough against Iran. During his first term in office, in 2020, Trump ordered a US airstrike that killed Iran's top military commander, Qasem Soleimani. Trump in 2018 also reneged on a nuclear deal struck by his predecessor Barack Obama in 2015 and reimposed US economic sanctions on Iran that had been relaxed. Experts argue that these factors may also impact Iran's domestic politics, mounting pressure on the already unpopular theocratic regime of Iran. The fall of Assad shows the weakness of the Iranian regime and will be definitely a boost for the regime's opponents. It will inspire them to take it on, especially as the regime is hemmed in from other sides too. The return of Trump to White House will likely bring renewed pressure on it, and Israel is also strengthened, but it will also have effects on the regime's internal composition. Those factions who seek a deal with the West and want Iran to step back from some of its aggressive policies will see a boost. They will try to get a deal with Trump at any price that might get them some respite. So, is it Khamenei after Assad? Can the Iranian regime overcome the domestic and external challenges it faces? Or will an isolated Khamenei accelerate Tehran's nuclear weapons program to compensate for its recent losses, leading to further tensions in the Middle East? We'll wait and watch,